Hello there, hello everybody. Welcome. Good to have you here. Welcome to another episode of the Illumina podcast. The Illumina podcast is the Young Africans Playbook to Global Relevance. My name is Excellence Doko, and I am your host. Today, we're going to be looking at something uh, that has been on my books for quite a while, couple of years. I've just been unraveling this thing and getting to learn more and more about it as the year goes by. And it is a concept called capitalism. Before we go into that, uh, usually the my audience, those listening to me right now, and let's say in future, yeah, lots of people would definitely listen to this. And probably you are young, you are coming up, you're an African, and uh, you are charting your course and you know looking to make the best of your life. You want to live a life that you would be remembered for something great. This is one of the things you should have in mind about um, your personal development. Let me start off by recommending a book. I am a big advocate, and right now, I am a big advocate of reinventing yourself. Your desire to become wealthy, your desire to rewrite your history, your desire to make the best out of your life, your desire to live a better, to have a better experience in life uh, than what your parents had, it will drive you to do things that are out of the ordinary. Yeah, and which is good, it's great. Okay, you must understand that you wouldn't be able to rewrite the script unless you are able to rewire your brain. You have to reparent yourself, you have to expose yourself to new experiences. I can remember some time ago, uh, one of my friends, a lady at that, and we had a wonderful discussion, and she opened up her about how that she desires better than the experience she had while growing up with her father and her mother. She wants better, and there and then, in my own wisdom at the time, this was a year ago, right? In my own wisdom, I had to let her know that you cannot recreate something you've not experienced. If you desire a close knit family, you want a better experience, you want a family, you want to raise a family or raise kids that would love you, that would enjoy the life you've brought them into. You want a different experience from what your father and mother gave to you. You have to get that software from elsewhere, because in the end, the way we parent our children is the way our parents parented us. Yeah, you cannot give what you do not have. So you got to learn how to love properly from somewhere, right? So I told her that she has to reparent herself, she has to rewire her brain, and one of the ways you can do that, or I advised her to do that, was to go after any of her uncles or aunties or mentors or people she holds in high esteem and they have interest in her, and find a way to live with them probably a week or two, all right, and observe what it means to have a balanced home. See it for yourself. Don't just read it in the book, okay? Because it has a way of giving you that software. It puts it in your mind. It teaches you. You see it firsthand. I can remember one of the experiences. I grew up in. My parents were strict. Yeah, my father was strict particularly, and uh, I was in one of my, I think that was a relative. I think it was a relative or a family friend or something. I'm not sure. Yeah. And so one of those days, the kid was playing, their last born or thereabouts was playing, and a grown up, wasn't a child. Yeah. It was a teenager. Yeah. Now he was playing, and out of the blues, he took a bunch of keys and threw it towards the house, and the keys veered off course and hit the rear glass, the rear glass at the back of the car, and shattered it. Now, I was there in the house that day. I was watching. What I was watching to see was their his father's reaction and his mother's reaction, because I know and I can remember when I could picture and imagine how my parents would have reacted to that. As I was waiting to see different, now seeing the way they didn't flog him, they didn't scold him, yeah, I, you know, now seeing the way they reacted to it, like it introduced me to a form of newness, that you can handle situations like this differently. This was different from what I was used to. Now you cannot read this in a book. You cannot you cannot you got to experience this. It's not something they can explain to you. You have to see it firsthand. Now, after the whole issue died down and all of that, I went to meet his mother, and I asked, hold on a minute, ma, let me know, why didn't you beat him? Because I can remember that I could picture how my parents would have reacted. And they might not have beaten me, but they surely would have acted differently. Yeah, they would scold me and all of that. Yeah. Now, she explained her thought process, how she approaches her her parenting style, and how she handles issues like that. And she opened up the deeper meanings of everything she does and what she did that day. Now, this was the eye opener to me. Not everybody has this experience. So if you're going to rewire your brain, you have to do it with things like that. But if you do not have those experiences, you don't have all those opportunities, you can do this through number one, movies, motion pictures. You can do this through books that you expose yourself to. I have a saying, there is a saying, it's not my saying, that this saying was, I heard it first from Olakule Sorion. He said that there are three experiences that changes anybody. Number one, the people you meet. Number two, the places you go to. Number three, the events you are part of. People, places, and events. People, places, and events. So you see these three experiences, they are enough to change whatever newness you're going to birth in your life, whatever fresh idea is going to visit you will be born from these three things. So movies to me are not just a form of entertainment. They are beyond that. They go beyond that. Yeah, and this is why now one of the movies I'm going to recommend. I saw this movie I think the first time in 2022 or 23, and no, way before that. But I revisited the movie again in 2023, and it made more sense to me. Right, the movie is titled In Time. Justin Timberlake was the star actor there, and it's a 2011 movie. So you can go online, watch it, and you extract meaning. Now, when you are seeing this movie, keep every distractions away from you. Feel free to pause when they say things that make sense and think about it. AI is available to you. You can, look up some of the phrases, and it brings alive, newness that you might not necessarily experience and meet in church or in school. Okay, now that's number one. I'm going to recommend that movie. Go watch that movie. Go watch that movie. Number two a is a book by MJ DeMarco. MJ DeMarco. It's called The Millionaire Fastlane. And the reason I'm recommending this book to you is because part of your major desire for upward mobility is to experience certain things that your home of birth, your parents couldn't give to you, to experience the best things in life, do way more than what your parents did, right? To have a better experience in life, to be able to live the kind of life you want to live. And one of the ways you're going to do that, one of the leverage that will help you is money. Money is is will solve a lot of your problem. And I know you have so much desire, you want to get that, you want to fix your money issues, you don't want to have money problems. You need to get that book, MJ DeMarco. I'm not being paid to advertise any of all of this, but you need it. You are young, you're an African, you need to digest this. Now, MJ DeMarco proposes a different way to money making. You see, I say it and I say it over and over and over and over again. This world is Caesar's world. The system of government operational in Nigeria and in so many countries in Africa is the capitalist system of government. And in a capitalist system of government, you want to be wealthy, you're going to have to do that with you have to own a business. You have to own a business. Being wealthy in a capitalist system, you have to own a business. If you want to work a job, just like the which is the broad way, the allegory that Jesus gave, that narrow is the way that leads to life, and broad is the way that leads to hell. Yeah, you want to go through the safe parts. Yeah, if you want to do that, that's cool, that's fine. But listen, you want to be wealthy, you can't be wealthy working a job. I'm telling you, you cannot be wealthy working a job in Africa. You want to be comfortable, rich, right? Be able to pay your bills and just live within two emergencies away. Yeah, a job can get you that. But being wealthy, that you do not need to work for months and you are comfortable, yeah, a job can't get you that. It just cannot get you that. And this is reality. So if you want to learn beyond what, let me tell you, give you something that happened to me because I started questioning this. This is why I advise every young person question everything, ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. I can remember when I was in school, I think this should be my in 300 level or 400 level thereabouts. So in conversations with a number of my classmates, I kept asking questions. And one day I asked, I said, look at all our lecturers. I think it was Olumide Emmanuel that said, when you step into an organization, look at the people who have been in that organization for the longest. The state of their life is the prophetic destiny of your life. In that, whatever their life looks like is what you are definitely going to look like. Just give it time. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's a matter of when it will happen. So I examined my and this is the reason why I left my bank job. I used to work in the bank with one of Nigeria's foremost banks. I didn't stay there for, I think I stayed there for, I worked there for about 6, 7 months or thereabouts. Yeah, and I ran away. I ran out, you know. And so then in school, 400 level or 300 level, I'm not sure which one it is. But one of those days in school, I kept asking my classmates, and there was this lecturer that used to teach us, that used to lecture us. He was a professor, and he was the wealthiest amongst all our lecturers. Now, the thing about him was he wasn't always around to lecture. He comes once in a while or twice in a semester. He doesn't come for exams. He sets the question, gives it to other lecturers. They examine us, to assistant lecturers. They examine us, and they mark the scripts and all of that. Yeah, he comes once in a while, once in a while. And when he comes, he would come probably on a Monday and lecture on a Monday, on a Tuesday, or it come on a Monday, lecture on a Tuesday and Wednesday, and then it goes back on the Thursday. So in some cases, it comes and that Monday and Tuesday, that's Tuesday and Wednesday, it would take 300 level students and take 400 level students. And if he has master students to teach, he would also handle that. Then he's out. He doesn't live in the state where our school was. He was living in another state. So, and to top it up, and this was what got me curious because I could say he had the best vehicle amongst all the lecturers in the entire department and in the entire faculty. Yeah, he now for our level, our class, he would, and those days when he would come around, he's not teaching for 2 hours like the regular lecturer. they would map out those 2 days for him, and so it would take out, let's say sometimes lectures will start 9 o'clock and run from 9 till 3 o'clock, or till 2 o'clock, or till 1 o'clock for 2 days. Now, when he comes for such lectures, his driver will come into the class and count all of us in the class and go out to a kiosk or a store or a supermarket, wherever, and get drinks for refreshment and snacks for every one of us in the class. This happened over and over again, and it blew me off. I just knew, all right, this man is doing something beyond. He's doing something beyond just lecturing. Yeah. So I kept asking my classmates, what is this man doing that is making him different from every other lecturer? Yeah. Then one of those days in class, I raised my hand and I said, "Sir, I have a question." He said, "All right, go ahead." Now, I said, "Sir, the question is not relating to what you're teaching." He said, "Okay, no problem." And you see that's the thing with people that are wealthy. He didn't mind answering a question that was unrelated to what he was teaching. Some of all those other lecturers, they would have thrown me out of the class possibly, or shut me up or something. Yeah, maybe. Except like exceptions exist, you know. Now, so I stood up and I asked him. I said, "Sir, I've taken my time to assess all of the lecturers in this department, and I want to ask a question. The question is this: the amount of money you have, the kind of money you have, we that you are teaching us right now, are we going to, can this thing you are teaching us, this geology you are teaching us, can it give us the kind of money you have?" That was my question. The man took a deep breath. Now, when I stood up to ask the question, my classmates were already laughing because I told them I was going to ask that question. And so they were already laughing and all of that. That's my circle. They were already laughing. And when I asked the question, they kept on laughing. And everybody, when he took in a deep breath, everybody, the class went quiet because apparently it was a question that was in the minds of everybody in class, but nobody had the guts to question. Nobody saw it as necessary. Everybody just wanted to live their life and all of that. Yeah. But not me. Not me. I asked. So he started answering and he said, "No, this will not give you the kind of money that I have. Will I mention the pharmacies that we opened and closed down? Will I talk about the businesses we started and we closed down and it closed down? Yeah, there are a number of businesses here and there. There's a hotel, and he went on and described lots of businesses and talked about that how that he was working for one of the Nigeria's foremost foreign oil oil drilling company, Shell. Yeah, he was working there for a long time. He retired there. His wife was working there too, retired there, and aside that, there were businesses. I was close to him in that I started, before this particular question, I was asking him certain things, and after every class, I'd go close, ask a couple of questions because he had the kind of energy I wanted to associate with. Now, one of those days, and this moved me even to ask that question I asked. One of those days, he was operating PowerPoint, and so he asked someone to volunteer. Me being tech savvy, I volunteered. Everybody, they pointed at me. I went, and we got it going. So I was on his laptop, and moving the slides to the next slides and all of that. And his mobile phone was beside his laptop. While I was sitting there, brothers and sisters, alerts from two different banks were popping in. I sat down there and over 500,000 came into a particular account. And I think about the money that came in totally was over 1 million. It wasn't more than, I didn't sit there for up to an hour. And that was, it would just ring. I would look at it and see that it's a notification, bank alert, credit alert. It ring again, I'll see another one, credit alert. Yeah, I ring again. I say, now, so that alone made me ask him that question. So when he broke everything down, I said, all right, There's a problem with the system. So now, why did I explain all of this to you? To show you that the conventional way of making money, go to school, get a job, uh, and you get paid. With the money you get paid, you save so much. Then you invest what you can invest, live on little, and you invest in probably the stocks or an investment scheme. And after 40 years or 50 years, it gives you so much that you can retire and live off it. Man, that's a bloody lie that I refuse to accept. I refuse to accept that. Now, if you have that in mind too, the game has been rigged. You don't get wealthy through that. Yeah. And some of you listening to me right now, that's what your parents did. And it didn't turn out well. There are certain privileges you just couldn't, you didn't have access to because of that. So you want to change things, you want to turn things around. The way to do it, get that book, Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. And it breaks everything down, helps you understand how wealth can be made. Okay. Now, that aside, the main discussion, what has been on my mind lately is the issue of capitalism. Capitalism is the way the world right now works. Capitalism built the Roman Empire. Capitalism is the way the um, capitalism is what the world runs on. The American society. United States of America stands on the shoulders of capitalists. Yeah, which will bring me to the last recommendation. Um, there is a documentary called "The Men Who Built America." It's on YouTube, so go to YouTube, go type out, search for "The Men Who Built America." It gives you insight on who these men were, how they built it. Yeah, and you see how capitalism works. Ladies and gentlemen, capitalism is the way. And one thing I would draw from capitalism before we wrap this up is that to be wealthy and have so much money, yeah, to get to that point of financial escape velocity where you have much money than you need, you you would need to act like the God who created you. And the God who created man was a capitalist. Yeah, he was a being, or he is a being that created more than he consumed. But the key word there is to create. Look at all the poor nations in the world. Every nation or country that is poor, there's one particular thing about them. The rate at which they consume is higher than the rate at which they produce. And not just production for themselves, production that they export to, that is of good use to other nations. So you want to be wealthy? What are you producing? What are you creating? If you're not creating nothing, there's no way you are going to be wealthy. It's just not going to work. Okay. Now, one of the things you should have in mind is one of the things you must create is a business. A business. A business. There is no capitalist you find on the face of the earth who doesn't own a business or businesses. There is none. There is no. So you have to. And to be able to create a business, there is one thing you must. The being a capitalist rests on the shoulder of what economists call the four factors of production. All right, the four factors of production: your land, your labor, your capital, and the entrepreneur. And the idea is that with these four things in place, you should be able to produce so much that is valuable and that other people need. The land is probably the store, the place where it is being produced. All right, now it could be a warehouse, it could be, depending on what it is. All right, if you are a fashion designer, land there is the warehouse where all the clothes are being made. All right, now if you then labor is the people that do the heavy lifting. All right, and in this day and age of artificial intelligence, it's artificial intelligence that gets to do all the hard work. Okay, now, but however, doesn't replace human beings, because human beings have to control those AI bots and all of that. Okay, now, so the idea of capitalism is that You alone cannot run the entire system. So you need laborers, you need people to work for you. All right. So owning a business means that you don't get to run everything by yourself. And this is why, let me bring this in quickly before I explain capital and entrepreneur. This is why the Igbo apprenticeship system in Nigeria, that originated from the Igbo people of Nigeria, is a successful business system in that it has produced millionaires and billionaires all over the world. Okay, and yes, it really works because it functions by that system. There is a boss and there are people who are learning under him, but they get to do those work. They get to do most of they occupy that position of labor. They get to do all of those work. And then, because they can do that, the entrepreneur, which is the last factor of production, who is the boss in that case, now gets to oversee operation, gets to oversee everything that happens. It gets to manage capital, gets to source for capital, gets to ensure that that capital is put to good use, gets to monitor it. And this is why, if you're going to be wealthy, one of the things you must learn is how to manage, not managing resources, how to manage people. Managing resources comes into play, but you must learn how to manage people, because learning how to manage people would ensure that you put your system in order. You bring it to fruition, you make it fruitful, and it produces things that are products that are of great use, all right, that are valuable to other people, that they can pay you money for. Right? So this is you cannot run away from this. And this is why I also advise that when you are much younger, let's say you're in the university and you probably attend, this helped me a lot because when I was in university, I had the campus fellowship I attended. Yeah, I occupied the position, and at some point, I got to manage a lot of people, got to manage teams, and it just built my ability and capacity to relate with people and manage people, manage a team. Right. When I was done with that, I managed a hotel. Yeah. There was a hotel in which I was managing. All right. Now that experience built up the capacity and ability. You just cannot get this done without having these skills. So for some of you, you might not had managerial experience, but that little responsibility where your parent told you to look over your younger ones, that's management. That is management, which you must put it to good use because it's developing your ability. Okay, so don't misuse any of all these things. This conversation already gives you an idea of the kind of skills to learn, what to look out for, and how to put your mind to great use. Right? I'm trying to check if there's any other thing I'm forgetting for this episode. I think this is the that's all. That's all. That's all. All right. It's been so nice having this episode with you. I wish you all the best. I wish you a beautiful experience with life. Today is the 28th day in the month of July 2025. I don't know when you're going to be listening to this, probably in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, 30 years' time, or tomorrow or next week, or however it's going to be. I wish you all the best. Good luck. All the best. Break a leg. I'll see you on the other side. I am looking forward to meeting you in person. Looking forward to meeting you in person. But one thing I'm sure of is that if we are related, if we are connected by spirit, we're going to come in contact with each other. Right? All the best. Be good.